me to abuse because my dad was very abusive. He was abusive to his girlfriends, and I watched him physically and mentally, emotionally, and verbally abuse one of his girlfriends. So, after he would abuse her, he would go on to say, like, I love you, and then, like, treat her very nicely, only to break her down and repeat the abuse. So, like, watching my dad do those kinds of things, it kind of made me comfortable with abuse, and that became my comfort zone, and that became home. And I will speak on, those things later on, but right now I want to focus on this because I can definitely start going off topic. Um, so my dad introduced me, to all of that stuff, as well as my mom. My dad, he was also someone that believed in, whipping kids. So I did get some whippings growing up from my mom and my dad. And my dad, he was also like extremely abusive towards my mom, and it had gotten to the point where my mom had to stab him. And when she did stab him, it was 3 or 4 inches from his heart. I'm not 1,000% sure which one it was, but I will say that my mom and dad were extremely toxic for one another. So I am very thankful that they went their separate ways because they did not need to be together. Like, my mom almost killed him. So I'm just thankful that they split up. It was a split that needed to happen. So, um, my thing is I'm having a hard time because my dad, he is everything that I don't stand for, I don't I don't tolerate abuse, and I just I can't, like, I'm having a hard time, like, just accepting him. And, I thought I had forgiven him for all of these things. But if you listen to my last podcast, I talked about how I blamed myself for everything. Even with my dad going to jail, I thought all of that was my fault. He would be in and out of jail all the time. But I thought that had everything to do with him not wanting to be around me. Um, so that's just where I'm at. I'm just having a hard time because I thought I had forgiven him and moved on. Truth be told, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you can relate to this, I did not forgive him. What I did was pushed everything so far, like so far to the back of my mind that I stopped thinking about it. And I stopped being bothered by it. I stopped letting it affect me. And so now it's like it's hard because my dad wants to come back into my life. Now, before you guys start judging me, before you subconsciously judge me, I want to say that it's hard for me to let my dad back into my life because I tried to let him in my life, a few times over the past few years, and it did not work out well because my dad, he's just he don't know how to maintain anything. And that's what makes it so hard because my dad was always in and out of my life. And then when I let him back into my life, as an adult with children and everything, I allowed him to be a part of my kids' lives. And he started repeating that cycle of like being in and out of their lives. Like, he wasn't consistent. And I didn't like that. And so I let my dad know a few years ago, like, hey, if you're not going to be consistent, um, you just can't be around my kids. Like, I don't want you calling them. I don't want you visiting them. I don't want them visiting you. I don't want that because I know what that did to me. And like, even now, due to that inconsistency and my mom not being consistent, because we moved around a lot as kids, I never had stability. That makes it hard for me to this day. It's still extremely hard for me to maintain friendships. I don't know how to maintain a friendship. So, I don't want that for my kids. Like, I just don't want it for them. They do not deserve that. So, what I did, so I put these boundaries in place. And then I felt bad for it because I thought that I was being mean. Like, that may be a bit too harsh. You know, that's kind of hard to tell someone they need to be consistent or they can't be in your life. But I don't think it is. I think that's really good for me to, put that boundary there. So then my dad, he did it again. He would like come around, such as phone calls and text messages, talking to my kids and everything. Then he would disappear for like a few months. And the last time I tried to rekindle things with my dad and work on our father daughter bond and allow him around my kids, um, it was last July, July of 2021. Now, keep in mind that I have 5 children and they are young. My oldest daughter is